Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. So glad that you've joined us. And us is Dr. Jill Hubbard and myself, Steve Arterburn here. Hey, Jill, how are you?
Hey, Steve. I'm doing great.
Well, you and I were talking before the program about different things folks are dealing with. And I knew this to be true, but you certainly validated it. Some folks are anxious about the election results, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, I more than ever before, I have people coming in or, over Zoom talking about their anxiety and unrest. And certainly, it's been a year of that, and everybody, talks about how it's so unprecedented, and certainly through all of that, people's anxiety and dis-ease and the riots. But now the election, with the state of how things have been, people don't have the same security, and it's been going. It's like we can endure things that are acute for a short amount of time. We go, whoa, wasn't that horrible? Yeah. But when it's ongoing, it kind of becomes a long suffering, and people get worn down and worn out, and the fear that ensues and the anxiety, as if all of our hope is in whichever candidate wins.
Yeah.
And that's
not true.
No, that is just not true. But it feels that way. It feels like that's what we're being fed, is that whatever happens in either direction, it's, the world's practically going to come to an end. And so, to realign and to step back and, really having to direct a lot of people back to their faith. And, okay, what does that look like? Right? We know there's evil in the world. We know there's chaos, but we have to often step back and say, but God is bigger, right? What can mere man do to me, right? God is bigger, and he is in control ultimately. And remember, like, he used, good kings and he used evil kings for his purposes. Right? And so we go through different seasons like this, and it does feel unbearable. But when it's unbearable, what are we to do? We're to cry out to him.
Yeah. Well, he allowed Herod to have power to the degree that Jesus was sent to die on a cross.
Yeah.
And so this evil governmental figure ends up assisting in the crucifixion, the death, the burial, and the resurrection from which all of us can receive eternal life. And the Bible is just so clear that he does use evil folks to accomplish some very good things, or just not the best folks, we could say.
Right.
Well, I did a special. Larry Sonnenberg was the one asking, what could we do about this election situation? And so I created this thing for after the election, because every person needs to consider you may be the side that needs to accept the result that you didn't like. And so I've done this whole thing on the concept of acceptance after the election, but then also if your side won, to be responsible about that and don't think that you have some moral superiority, because as we've said, God has allowed crummy people to be elected sometimes. So really hope that it'll help folks if they'll view it. I think that it will. 1-800-229-3000 is the phone number. We're going to go to phone calls right after this. Glad you're with us here on New Life. On Saturday, we're doing intimacy in marriage. And if this little pandemic thing has revealed a bit of a problem in your marriage, we could really help you with that. It could be the greatest thing ever if you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll be back. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and so often we hear people saying, I know I need something, but I don't know what it is. Well, we've put together the perfect experience for you. It's called Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. You're going to hear Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Henry Cloud, Dr. John Townsend, Sheila Walsh, and myself, Steve Arterburn.
In this online workshop, you'll participate in general sessions, then break out into groups. These groups, facilitated by licensed Christian counselors, are where true life change happens. You'll take what you've heard in the main sessions and begin to process the areas of your mind and emotions that have kept you stuck. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Please consider joining us December the 5th for Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible.
Register today to begin experiencing life in a new way. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Going Deeper is at 5 p.m. I'm doing a whole series, a very long series on shame, because this is kind of the dregs of our emotions that, well, it's toxic and it affects so much stuff. You could really have some freedom there. I'm looking at our call screen here. And how about we go to, well, let's
Okay,
go
Steve,
over.
can you just give the time for that Going Deeper?
Oh, that's that Going Deeper is 5 o'clock Eastern Time.
So
Facebook
2 o'clock
Live.
my time.
2 o'clock on your
West Coast
Pacific
time.
Yeah. All right. Let's. How about we talk with? Yeah. Well, I can't get that call yet, but I'll go to a different call, and let's go over here to line 1, Grand Rapids. Susan. She's the one that's calling. Hi, Susan. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing all right, and thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
Well, I would like to tell you my situation here and then have you comment on it.
Sure.
Well, you started out talking about COVID, and that fits in well here because a couple of weeks before our state shut down with restrictions, I had told my husband about everything in our marriage, about how it made me feel. And during our marriage, he was angry, verbally, emotionally abusive, dismissive, and abusing alcohol. And it was something that grew worse over time. And he started counseling. I got a referral from New Life, and they gave us a good counselor to deal with it. And 2 months later, his mom died.
Okay.
This threw him into panic attacks and emotional upheaval. His mom was a domineering, explosive, always comparing, emotionally distant personality. And anyway, he doesn't seem to be getting better, but worse. And it's been 5 months. And when we started out with the beginning that I told you, I was saving for intimacy and marriage and managed to get that together. But now I'm wondering, is restore or finding freedom a better thing for him right now?
Is he drinking right now in excess?
No, he had quit drinking. Probably a few months before.
Okay. Well, then I would say you two going to intimacy and marriage is probably your best first step here, because it's both of you doing it. It's not like saying you have to go to restore because of what he's done, or he needs to go to finding freedom because of his sickness. But, you know, you're both broken, and it's kind of more mutual. You're both getting help, and it's radically revolutionary in what it does to transform a marriage. So I think you're really on the right track. I'm glad you're going.
Well, and Susan, you started in that vein of being vulnerable and honest with him about where you saw things, and he was open. He was open to going to therapy and to making some changes. Okay, then his mom dies, and of course, I mean, the way you've described her, that would completely undo him, as he's in the midst of looking at himself, and then to have this event. And I have a feeling that he has a few issues around Mom.
Just a few.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that when we lose our parents, it does make us feel more vulnerable, because now we're next. Right? And so that buffer that, I'm not old because I still have a mom around, or parents around. And then when our parents go, it's facing our mortality. And a lot of people and a lot of men that are more cut off from their feelings have a really hard time with this idea of aging. So I think his whole world has been turned upside down. I do like the idea, Steve, of them going to the marriage intensive, because number one, I just think it's one of the best things we do here. And it's a way of you guys to come together and to be a support for each other during a time when he's feeling really destabilized. Down the road, I think finding freedom would be good for him. But to start with the two of you, because there needs to be some connection there so that you both can feel some security during a time where he's not his self. And I think, too, we can't not mention the fact that if he's no longer drinking, and he drank for a long time, Susan, most of his adult life, am I hearing?
Yes, he had previously, years before, he had quit for 10 years, but he never went through a program or anything.
Okay.
And then an opportunity came up where it triggered something, I guess, and he started
again. Okay, so just we all know that just stopping the substance is not enough. You have to do some work to fill in the gap for what the alcohol was doing for you. And the alcohol is a false sense of coping. So now one of the biggest events in his life, and he's not drinking, and so he's got all of this emotion that he doesn't know what to do with, and that's why it's coming out in the panic attacks. He's feeling very, very insecure and out of his element.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to send you Take Your Life Back. I think that'll be a good compliment to, for both of you, if you'll get into the intensive that's this Saturday. So please, I hope you'll do it. I hope he'll do it with you. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. 1-800-229-3000. Let's go over here and talk with Butterfly from Baltimore, Maryland. Interesting name, Butterfly. WAVA. How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. And I do have a question. I was raised in a real traumatizing environment. My mom was an alcoholic and my dad was a rageaholic, and they was, really violent and abusive.
Oh.
And I grieved. It took some time, but I grieved the loss of the relationship that I didn't have with both of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I got on the other side of it, but every now and then I still find myself crying. The question was, is that okay? Is that normal? I mean, will I ever really heal 100% from the damage that was done due to being raised in a dysfunctional environment? Or, yes, would I ever be completely 100% where I won't shed a tear, I won't feel any kind of pain at all?
No.
Yeah, and I was going to say I hope not, because it's part of who you are.
Part of your story.
And we don't want that you to forget that. But I do think that you can reach that point where it's not controlling you, and it's not destroying you, and it's not painful, even intensity or duration like it was.
You're right. It changes.
It's not controlling me. It's not controlling me like it did at first, because I had 17 years clean off drugs.
Oh,
awesome.
good.
And so I'm no longer looking for a substance to numb myself or to fill the void or to feel, so I can feel pleasure or what so have you.
Right.
But I've learned how to sit in my feelings. But
Good.
I cry at times. Like today, I was crying. I was watching a movie, and it was about a daughter and her dad. And I mean, I cried deep cry like I did in the past. And I was like, wow. And don't get me wrong, it felt really good after the fact. It's like a paradox, like what starts in pain and then joy. But then I was like, wow, I'm still crying over my dad all these years, later. Like 2009, I grieved 2009 all the way to 2011. I mean, I was a mess. I really walked through a lot of unpacking.
Right.
And it was rough, but I made it through it. But I found myself crying today about it again. So I just wanted to call and make sure that it's okay and it's normal for me to feel that, that pot got stirred and I served it up.
Right. Right. And Butterfly, when we do work, there's sometimes there's new pockets of stuff that come up that then we need to tend to later on as, we have progressed and grown. It doesn't mean we're back at square one, but we deal with as much as we possibly can, in the moment. And then at times, different things in our lives will stir it up again. When we heal, it's like when you have a physical wound and you heal, we are never the same as if that wound never, ever happened, right? If you have a break or something, there might be a sensitivity there. Or if you have a scar, and if you dug hard enough, you could stir up that wound again, or, some soreness perhaps. And so as we heal, right, as Steve was saying, it doesn't take us down. It doesn't knock the wind out of us like it once did, right? We're not consumed by it every moment, but it's a sadness in our life. When you look back and you look at your childhood, you're not going to pretend that it was now all cherries and roses, right? It's still part of your story, and there's some sad parts to that story. And just like
I think it's because my dad don't want to have a relationship with me at all.
So that's ongoing hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just from the past. He's still who he is.
Don't want to reach out at all.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. And you start talking about the pain that you saw in this movie. Mm-hmm. So there are two things. One, it would be sad what you've been through if you saw a movie like that and you kind of had this attitude of, oh, brother, what, they should just get over it. That'd be a horrible attitude, and you don't have that. But the other thing here is I think there are some additional levels of grieving, like the onion, peeling away another layer of that onion. And then also, I think the grieving in the present must lead to acceptance of present reality of what he, so that you're no longer expecting or wanting or needing. And,
or wishing.
Or wishing. And maybe it would be helpful if you just had this vision of your father in a wheelchair and with no legs, and that you could see that you would never expect him to come running to you. He couldn't do that, right? Well, what you're wanting him, he can't call you, is another way to look at it. If he could, he would call you. If he could know who you are, he would be on that phone to you, but he can't open himself up to that.
He's an emotional cripple.
He could if he'd do the work, but he's not going to do the work. Mm-hmm. And so I just think you've got some more acceptance work, which is hard work, to be done here over him.
And it's hard to imagine, and as Christians, that, that people can't get help. But if they're not willing, right? They stay limited in their capacity. And in fact, none of us tread water. We're either growing and, getting better, or we're kind of sliding and regressing and getting
So
worse.
true. Yeah.
So
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
we
it's
wish
painful.
you had that dad, because you're a wonderful person
Yeah.
to talk to, and you're courageous. You called us, but I'll
And
tell
you've
you,
been
Mom
sober
was so,
17 years.
There you
It's
go.
amazing.
When Mom said, "No blood out of that turnip," can't get blood out of a turnip. It's just so true. And you will not get out of a broken man wholeness, health, and healing. And we have to grieve it, have to accept it, and then move on with our lives.
Can we send her forgiving our fathers and mothers? I think
Absolutely.
That would be a good one.
Yep. Coming your way. I hope it's going to help you. I know it will. Jill wrote that
Well, part of it.
part. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back right after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, October 24th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And if you send us a gift of any amount, we will send you the New Life wall calendar with photographs, scripture, things out of the Bibles that I have edited. Beautiful, beautiful calendar, and I hope and pray that you'll support us. Not for the calendar, it's just our way of saying thank you, and I hope and pray that you can help. You help us, we just take it and use it to reach and help other people. And if you can't support us financially, we sure would appreciate it if you could pray for us every day, because we are in a battle with the world here. Satan and evil, and we can use all the prayer that we can get. Let's go to Kathy, Lynchburg, Virginia. And
hey, how are you?
Hi. Great.
How are you? Thank you for having me on your program. This is a little unique in the question I'm going to ask you, though, but my daughter I think they're leaning towards a divorce now. They've been through 2 months of counseling. She felt like it was beneficial. He did not. And it's very sad to see, because they both claim the name of Jesus, but there is definitely some intimacy issues. Like for her, she feels very abandoned that way, like almost desert it kind of, and it's very humiliating to kind of, like she said, Mom, to beg him to be intimate with me. She said that is so humiliating. And it's been 8 years. They have 2 children, but there's a lot of underlying things that have happened through the years that not so good, including him looking at pornographic stuff. And
well, I was just going to say to you, I mean, it doesn't make sense that a guy would need to be begged to be intimate, and so what has she done to get him into some kind of help for that pornography?
Well, we had the counselor that they saw suggested that he go to. There actually is. I didn't know that. Someone for addiction for that, and but that was not sought after because he said that the Lord delivered him. So in the last 3 or 4 months, he says he hasn't seen anything, but I don't know. I think addiction.
But see, that's ridiculous. Listen, you need to help your daughter get educated here. Him stopping obviously didn't.
Call and talk to you.
No, well, but she's talking to you, and you need to be saying things to her, saying things like, "Hey, him stopping for 4 months. Obviously, you don't just instantly stop something, and now you're this wonderful, loving person. Of course, he's not going to be any different." And he's kind of there's a myth here that look, I stopped and I still don't want to be intimate. Well, of course not, because you didn't start your recovery process, and so he doesn't even
looked at gay sites. So would that mean he has a tendency towards homosexuality? I mean, he has looked at those sites also. And sometimes, but
it means that
he
is. It means that he is really into pornography. Whether he is interested in gay relationship, or he searched it because the pornography he is looking at didn't fulfill him still. So he's searching for other things.
Pushing the envelope.
Yeah. So either way, you see. He needs help. So look, she should be saying to him, what are you talking about? This, I quit for 4 months. God delivered me. God might have helped you not be so interested in a pornographic site, but God didn't restore your natural desire to be with your wife. That takes help, treatment. It takes a program. It takes time. And so she's really making a judgment based on, I don't think, trying all that can be tried to change their reality. And look, he's lost. He's not going to come up and do something healthy here.
He's like a dry drunk.
Would he play the victim? I feel like now he tells his parents, she just doesn't want me, and that's not the case
well,
at
of
all.
course he's going to be dishonest because he has not rebuilt the character that pornography erodes.
Right. Well, and it's easy to blame. And to blame someone else for your failure.
And look here.
Now
you said, hold on a second. You said she wants to be intimate with him, and she doesn't want to have to beg him. He goes and tells his in-laws, his parents, well, she doesn't even want me anymore. Well, that's a lie then.
Yeah, that's exactly
so you can't have a relationship if 50% of the people in the relationship are lying about the reality.
And lying is a lack of character.
Right.
And the hallmark of any addiction.
So, the best thing you could do is say, all right, this weekend, intimacy and marriage. You guys have an intimacy problem. Start there. And then he should absolutely go to every man's battle after that. And then they'll have a marriage. This guy can wake up, but he's not going to wake up on his own. It's just not happening yet. And you need to help her make some demands, make some suggestions, express some desires, and see if he'll respond to anything to get better. Well, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? All right, let me send you Worthy of Her Trust. It's a great book for him to have. and I would want her to know about it. You just can't have character by stopping something crummy.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Conquer Worry and Anxiety by Dr. Healing is a Choice by Steve Arterburn, and Forgiving What You'll Never Forget and Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, both by Dr. Dave Stu. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn, you're really glad that you've joined us, and maybe you're hearing this phone call and you're thinking, man, that sounds like us. Okay, well, let's do something about that. And, you know, sometimes people do get delivered from the impulse or the urge to drink, gamble, look at pornography or whatever. Okay, that is real. That happens. How sad it is when somebody doesn't take that gift and now go do the work on themselves.
Right.
See, it's almost like God saying, I'm going to take away the urge here so you can focus on getting better. But what happens? You claim I'm all better because I don't have this urge. You're not looking very deeply into your life because I'm telling you, there's a lot of work that needs to be
Right. I mean, it's a
done
big deal. We don't want to diminish stopping, but it's only the beginning.
there. Yeah.
You just don't get the full benefit if that's all you do. You actually, you know, slide into being more of a miserable person.
Yep. All right, let's go to Janet. Albany, New York is where she's calling from. Hi, Janet. How are you today? What's going on?
Hi. I want to say thank you so much for taking my call, and I'm a huge fan, and I listen to you guys every day.
Nice.
And I'm just going to jump right in because I'm very nervous. So my question is, what boundaries should my parents and my family set for my brother, who's 17 years old, that we have found smoking pot? And I just wanted to quickly just say that we uncovered his stash about 2 weeks ago. It was like it was accidental, and we had a family meeting, and we invited him, and we just laid it out on the table, and we created a very loving environment, and we confronted him and asked him, and he did confess everything. He said what he was doing, and my parents did set some boundaries, like a curfew and like not allowed to hang out with some people, but they said if you keep doing this that we will take away your car and take you off insurance. Now, what do we do if he keeps doing it? Like, I'm not even sure.
You take away his car, and you don't pay his insurance because that's what you said you would do. there are two things here. A 17-year-old that's smoking pot is doing something extremely unhealthy for a 17-year-old, right?
Yes.
I mean, we know that. I mean, the studies show the impact on the brain of a teenager, even an older teenager, is devastating. And I have yet to meet anybody who's been on this program or any program who says, you know, ever since I started that pot thing, I mean, my life, I've gotten promotions, I'm doing great in school, it's just incredible. No, it doesn't happen. Second thing is, it's illegal.
Right.
And I got to tell you, I would be taking the car away now if I knew that my son was using a mood-altering chemical that would hamper his ability to drive an automobile, and it's a substance that's illegal.
Well, yeah, because a car becomes a weapon then.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't hand a weapon to somebody who's unstable. And a lot of kids think, oh, I can smoke pot, and then an hour later I can drive my car. And that just isn't true.
Here's something you could help your parents with. It is natural, it is normal to think my son will never smoke pot and kill somebody while he's driving. That's just natural. You don't want to go there. But you have to say to them, Mom, Dad, you have to work through that thing that keeps you from thinking that could happen, and you have to act on the fact that it could, so that you're not sitting around here in 4 months and you get a phone call that he's in jail because he was driving, fell asleep, or misjudged or whatever, and somebody got hurt. That's really the tough thing, I think, for parents is to kind of play the movie forward versus thinking, okay, well, we've dealt with that. Now let's get on with our lives. He needs help.
Well, and don't just think because you've confronted him. I mean, it may slow him down, but depending on how long and much he's been using, it's a hard thing to break. The pot nowadays is really, really strong, and kids are having a lot of adverse side effects from it. I think you should be randomly drug testing him.
Yep.
Because you can't just take his word, because addicts lie. You know, now it's hard to think of your brother as a liar, but if you think about the drugs in him make him lie.
Yeah. Here's something that's never been said. No, I'm not going to do that drug. I only smoke pot. I know that's just not you take the drug you're offering me. I'm not going to swallow that pill. I only smoke pot. No 17-year-old pot smoker has ever said that. What I'm saying is it's a gateway drug. And if he's doing that, then he's vulnerable for anything and everything that comes along.
Right.
And they're buying his pot. When they pay his insurance, all that, they're buying his pot, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
You have to... Go ahead.
So he did say he was very relieved, and he did say he wasn't going to do it again.
Okay.
But we just don't know. You just don't know, and he hasn't been honoring his curfew. That's one thing.
Okay.
And that was part of the deal.
Okay.
We haven't found anything. We have no other reason to believe he's smoking, but not honoring his curfew was a big thing.
Yeah. So you really need a what if contract is what they need. What if I don't honor my curfew? Isn't that an indicator of other things? Here's the consequence. What if I'm found using pot again? Here's the consequence. It needs to all be laid out and agreed to. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And because of this behavior, right, he's asking for more accountability by virtue of his behavior. He doesn't know that he is, but when he's no longer trustworthy, right, then that means he needs more guidance. And so because, teens don't always realize that you get freedom by being trustworthy. You don't get freedom because you're a certain age. And so to come alongside him a little bit more, I wouldn't be giving him money, right? Kids, it's not that expensive for them, actually. And so, limiting the things until he proves that he's trustworthy. And it's to help him. I mean, the brain issues are really a big deal. You can speculate about, yes, he might kill someone someday, but he's really being harmed. His brain is not fully developed, right? They say till the age of 26 now. And so he's doing great damage. And so you don't, right?
All right. So I'm gonna send you this little book, Take Your Life Back. It's all about how to change all of this. And then I want to send you, for your parents, Understanding and Loving a Person who has a chemical dependency. I think that's going to be a big help too. 1-800-229-3000 is our phone number for the radio program. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to talk to us about anything that you want to talk to us about. We'll lead you to the best resource available, the best resource that we know of. Let's go to Joe, Gloucester, Massachusetts, WEZE. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hello, good. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
We have a foster son who's 12 and a half, and we found out he's addicted to pornography already.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also acting out on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did get your first book, Preparing Your Son for Every Man's Battle, but I think we're beyond that. So we now ordered the second one.
Good.
We've taken away everything so far, all his video games that are online. He has a group of friends that I think are involved with this with him. We've taken away his phone, and I guess what do we do now? How do we reintroduce him? He's in counseling for it. He's also in grief counseling. He's with us because he's lost his mom and dad. And he admits that he's been doing this for about a year, and his father condoned it. And we're not even sure if there was sexual abuse, too.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're doing a lot of things that are right. Is he showing any signs of progress from what you're doing?
We think, I would say so. Now we're letting him on one game in the living room with us in the room, and he tells his friends that there can be no toxic behavior or talk or anything.
Yeah, I really like all the stuff that you're doing there. And it's just going to take time, probably, because he's got a couple of things. He's got this huge loss.
Yeah.
And then this thing he was doing to kind of distract himself or alter his mood. Now that's not there anymore, so pretty tough.
Yeah. Is he in any kind of support group therapy?
He's in a grieving one.
Okay.
And then he's with another counselor for trauma.
Okay. I'm even thinking of a church support group for young guys.
We'll be back.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, November 14th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly. and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. You know, it is refreshing when we hear somebody like this couple. They're really doing a lot of great things. And it's encouraging that somebody's doing right stuff versus, us always harping on people not doing enough or whatever. But sometimes you just have to stay the course.
Right. This kid is needing guidance, and you're giving him some privileges a little bit at a time so he can demonstrate being trustworthy. But he's had a traumatic past, and I applaud you for being there for him and helping to have all the supports in place.
I don't even know who this is, but hi, you're on New Life. Who am I talking to?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Kristen.
Hi, Kristen. Did you have something you want to share with us?
Yes, I was just calling to give some encouragement to the lady who called in about her daughter and son-in-law who is struggling with the pornography addiction.
Yeah. Okay, do it.
So we were in that situation a few years ago. Sorry, it's hard not to get emotional because I know her pain very well.
And so what happened with you guys?
I was very, very blessed. Sorry.
It's okay.
I was very blessed that my husband was willing to get help, and I'm very thankful for the mental conference. I would say my best advice for her is to equip herself very well, educate herself as much as she can.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think you're so emotional about this right now? What is it?
Because I know her pain.
Yeah.
I know the pain that she's going through. I know it is very horrible.
But it feels like you not only know it, it feels like you're going through it still.
No, I don't think I'm still going through it. It on top of it wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't the pornography addiction that hurt me so much. It was the lying and the covering up, and that really took a toll. It broke my trust to the core.
Sure.
But you wouldn't know it. You saw my voice. I'm sorry. But I just wanted to let her know that there is hope. She just needs to equip herself very, very well. You guys have some amazing resources. She just needs to educate herself as much as she can on this topic and approach him in a very loving way. But it is possible, and through the grace of God, we actually have a much better marriage now.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's amazing.
And how long has it been, Kristen? How long has it been for you?
Gosh, it's been 4 and a half years.
Okay.
It took a long time. I mean, we were separated for a short time. I had to put some boundaries in place to show him I was very serious. This is a very serious issue. It took a little bit of nudging. He was a little resistant at first, to my requests and getting counseling and getting help. But once he did, I think his eyes were opened to the seriousness of the problem and the effect that it was also having on me.
Good.
But thankfully he was receptive. Eventually he was receptive to it. He went to Every Men's Battle. He is still in CR, local CR meetings. He's actually a leader.
Oh,
there
that's
you go.
Awesome.
In the CR meetings.
Yeah.
But here's what I say. From your story, which is so encouraging, this didn't happen because two people decided to do nothing about the problem.
Right.
It doesn't get like this by doing nothing. It takes courage. It takes, like you said, that nudge, and you did it.
Yeah,
I'm really
and
happy
it's
for
a
you.
long journey, and you guys are still walking it out, which is wonderful. And when we go through something traumatic like that, there's a lot of identification when you hear a similar story.
Yeah.
So, right? And I hear a huge amount of empathy that you're having for someone that's just beginning.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm so grateful that you called. Let me send you a Restoration Bible, and I'll send your husband an Every Man's Bible. And so thankful that you called to encourage other people. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad he's a leader in Celebrate Recovery.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Very, very awesome. All right. Almost out of time here. I don't think I have time. I don't think I can go to another call.
It'd be tight.
But I'm going to talk to Jose real quick. Jose, quick question. How can we help you? We don't have a lot of time, but let's see what we can do here.
All right, real quick. I got a 17-year-old daughter, real rebellious. Really doesn't. Her and my wife, they don't follow the Bible. And just the other day, they watch the filth on TV about transsexuals and all that. And the other day, on her birthday, she wanted to go to a drag queen show. My wife took her. And she's just not. She doesn't respect men at all. She doesn't respect me at all. But I know the Bible says for me to love her, and I love her. And I don't try to be mean to her at all. But I know I read in the Bible where it says also discipline her.
Okay. What's so cool is that we can actually help you in 60 seconds. Jill,
well,
what did you want to say?
Jose, I think there's an issue between you and your wife.
There you go.
And that
That's
you
what
guys need to get on the same page. I would love for you to go to our marriage, intimacy and marriage intensive. Okay. Well, I think there needs to be some changes around that. Somehow you've got to be able to talk to her differently to express how much you would like to connect with her and how you're feeling a disconnect. So you have to kind of own your stuff.
Right. The only bad thing is we're already going through a divorce. And it's not working at the house. She's still there. She doesn't want to. I mean, it's a terrible thing. But right now, I got two of my daughters that have. Well, one of them has been truly saved. She's in love with Jesus, and the other one we're reading the Bible. All three of us read the Bible in the middle of the kitchen, so the whole house can hear. But my wife doesn't get near. And
Jose. Jose.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
You're close to these other ones. You got this in common. You're 8 miles from this other person who's close to your wife that you're divorcing.
Correct.
So just quoting scripture or being the spiritual dude isn't going to bring her closer to you or you to her. So you kind of have to communicate in her world without judging her or criticizing her every time you talk with her. You get what I'm saying?
I think I'm doing that, but I'm working it more, I guess.
Okay, well that's about all you can do, so that she knows I love you, I care about you. And I'm always here. Always here.
Don't be a preacher.
Yeah.
Be Jesus to her.
I stopped doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I stopped doing that, and I am trying to show Jesus to her, and I'm trying to serve. I'm trying to outserve her every chance I get. But I get it. I understand.
Okay.
I appreciate.
Well, I'm glad you called. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you our Life Recovery Workbook, which is for going through divorce, and then the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a copy of Healing is a Choice, which my wife and I, Misty and I, wrote this together, and I think it's a great healing book for what you're going through. All right, I'm glad you called, Jose. Glad we got it together. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Come join us for this Intimacy and Marriage online workshop. It's this weekend, Saturday the 24th. You can still get in. Then Every Man's Battle is November the 7th, and then Restore, Hope for a Woman's Heart is November the 14th. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. My thanks to Dr. Jill Hubbard, author of Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers, and many, many others. Call us. Let us help you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thanks, Jill, and thanks to all of you who support us. To do that, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.